Welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you are here. In the words of Thich Nhat Hanh, because you are alive, everything is possible. Happy new possibilities. Happy New Year. I'm Reverend Venicia Wills Lefroy, Assistant Minister for the Center for Spiritual Living, Southern Nevada. Please share your state and your country with us in the comments. We'd appreciate it. Again, welcome, love streamers, those who are with us live and those who are viewing recorded. Welcome everyone who is new and with us for the first time. Thank you so much for being here. We are grateful for your presence. We send everyone love. Know that you are loved. This is our midweek TLC Inspirational Gathering for the Center for Spiritual Living, Southern Nevada. We are currently only live streaming Facebook and YouTube, and this is due to the current COVID variant. So we do appreciate your understanding for this safety and health change. So now let's begin our TLC. And TLC also means teach the principles, live the love, and change the world, which is also our mission statement. So for a full spiritual experience, I invite you to silence your phones, secure your area, so that you're not disturbed. And let us move into affirmative prayer. I invite you to close your eyes, take a deep, cleansing breath, and exhale, letting go of everything. There is only one infinite, one love, one joy, one creative intelligence, and it is always present. And it is in the moment, in the present moment, that this source, this infinite source, is always sourcing, always providing. And so I am knowing with, for, and as each of you that this life force is within each of us. It is the life force of spirit. And so our energy and our breath is sourced by spirit. And so I invite you to consciously know this, to move about the world experiencing this truth, knowing that you are always sourced, you are always blessed, and that you are an expression of the infinite. I am grateful for the uniqueness of each of you. I bless this uniqueness. I bless each person who participates with us. I bless our technology team. I bless our volunteers. I bless our vigil practitioner. I bless our music director. I bless our spiritual leadership, and especially Reverend Marquita, for her willingness to be a vehicle for the greater truth. Let us know that together we co-create this experience called TLC Inspirational Gathering with joy and with love. Grateful, grateful am I. I release this into the universal law, knowing that good is the response, for it only knows to give good. And each of us is a recipient of this, and so much more. And so it is. Amen. We now have a new flow for this evening, for we have a fun event a little later in the program. And now for Reverend Marquita.
Good evening, love streamers. It is time to shift and change and grow. So we are here in 2022. It is time for us to raise the praise. So no matter if you're sitting down, if you have the ability to stand up, stand up. If your eyes are closed, open your eyes. Remember, God is everywhere. God is right here, right now, where you are, where I am, where we are. The whole infinite presence and power that is always present is
put your hands together. Ooh. Oh. This is a song that Ricky Byers wrote, and we decided to change it just a little bit. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. When my heart is open wide, yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. Yes, I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. When my heart is open wide, yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. Yes, I'm free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Listen, sing this. Say, I will let go. I will let go. Say, I will let go. I will let go. There are some things I will let go. I've got to lay down. I will let go. Getting a little too heavy for me. Let go. Bringing me down. I will let go. You know what? I'll really let go. Let go. I'll really let go. Let go. Really let go. Let go. It's not mine. I'm only here for God. Really let go. Really let go. There are some things that's over in this new year. Oh, I'll let go. I will let go. Say I will let go. I'll lift my hand. I will let go. And move a little further. I will let go. Let go of false beliefs. I will let go. And heavenly thoughts. I will let go. I've got to lay it down. I will let go. Oh, say I will let go. Really let go. Really let go. Really let go. Really, I'm gonna be here. Really, whatever it is, just really, you don't hold it, so don't hold it. Oh, I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. When my heart is open wide, yes, I'm only here for God. We got one more song to raise this praise today. And so we're going to keep it moving. And I want you to help me if you feel it tonight. I can feel the Spirit moving inside of me. Come on, come on, come on, let's go. Oh, clap your hands, yeah. Real simple. Sing with us if you can. Say, I can feel the Spirit moving inside of me. Say, I can feel the Spirit moving inside of me. Feel it in my hands. Feel it in my hands. I feel it in my feet. Feel it in my feet. I feel in my feet.
Feel it in my feet.
Feel it moving.
Feel it moving.
Feel it all over me.
All over me.
Sing it again, say feel it in my hands.
Feel it in my hands.
Come on, lift those hands right there and then let's rain. In my feet.
Feel it in my feet.
Feel it moving all
Feel
over
it
me.
moving.
Oh, all over me.
All over me.
Oh, come on, let's take a break just right now. Let's move. Come on. Wherever you are, you don't have to do much, but just pick your feet up and hey, feel it in my hand,
Feel it in my
feel it
hands.
in my feet,
Feel it in my
feel
feet.
it in my heart,
Feel it in my
feel
heart.
it in my soul,
Feel it in
feel
my
it
soul.
moving.
Feel it moving.
Ooh, all over me.
All over me.
One more time, say I feel it in my hands,
Feel it in my
feel
hands.
it in my feet,
Feel it in my
feel it
feet.
in my heart,
Feel it in my
feel it
heart.
in my soul,
Feel it in
feel
my
it
soul.
moving.
Feel it moving.
Ooh, all over me.
All over me.
Feel it moving all over me.
All over me.
Feel it moving all over me.
All over me.
Feel it moving, moving, yeah.
All over me.
All over me.
All over me.
And thank you, Mr. Donnie, for getting the spirit moving. And now for our announcements. I'm Juan McAllister, licensed spiritual practitioner at the Center for Spiritual Living. And our announcements begin with our center happenings. Please see our website at www.csln.org and open and review of the current eBlast newsletter. And if you're not receiving your own copy of the eBlast newsletter, please sign up at our website, www.cslsn.org. And should you require any assistance in completing your registration for that, feel free to call our center at 702-485-5050 during regular business hours throughout the week, because we want to stay virtually connected with you. Our next TLC Inspirational Gathering happening is on February 23rd at 6:10 Pacific Time. And remember, we only stream through Facebook and YouTube. See the Center for Spiritual Living, Southern Nevada, or your eBlast for dates, times, and live streaming information. And now, here's our spiritual leader, Reverend Marquita.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good evening again, love streamers. So yes, I am Reverend Marquita, and I am honored, and I just get the blessing of being the spiritual leader of this particular community. But I first want to acknowledge our magnificent music director, Mr. Donnie Lee. Let's give him some love. Yes, yes, yes. So folks, brand new year. Welcome to 2022. We get to do some magnificent, I was going to say work. We get to do some magnificent awakening tonight, all right? So first off, just know that we have a yearly theme. Our yearly theme is Living Like Spirit is My Source, because we're done with just knowing about it. It's time to put it into action and to really live like Spirit is our source, yeah? So that's our yearly theme, and tonight we have a special presentation for you. We're going to ask you to move your bodies, but we're going to do that a little bit later. Right now, we're going to have Mr. Donnie Lee introduce our talk this evening through his music. Donnie Lee.
Come on, one more time. One more time. Let's raise the praise. Everybody, come on. Blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings on. Put your hands in the air, wave it side to side, and let's rock. Now, if you feel this groove, I gotta let you know, I'm from an area called the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, and this style of music is called go-go. The only thing that's important in go-go is that you relax, lay back, and feel the beat. So wherever you are, just move those shoulders and know and say to yourself and declare that this year, all that is mine is blessings on blessings on blessings on blessings. Yeah. It's all just unfolding. Come on and sing this song with me. Listen. Every time I turn around, say blessings, 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 blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings on blessings, blessings on blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings, 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 blessings. Every time I turn around, it's gonna be blessings on blessings, blessings on blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings, 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 blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings on blessings, blessings on blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings, 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 blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings on blessings on blessings. Power to create is within me. In my hand, I have more than enough. Surely good and more goodness are following me, and my source will supply every one of my needs. Every time I turn around, blessings, 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 blessings. Every time I turn around, it's gonna be blessings on blessings, blessings on blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings, 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 blessings. Every time I turn around, say blessings on blessings, blessings on blessings. Power to create is within me. In my hands, I have more than enough. Surely good and more goodness, say. Surely good and more goodness are following me, and my source will supply every one of my needs. Sing this, say, I'm not gonna worry. I'm not gonna worry. I choose not to fear. I choose not to fear. Only speaking blessings. Only speaking blessings. For the rest of the year. For the rest of the year. Let's do it again. Say, I'm not gonna worry. Let's go. I choose not to fear. No fear, no fear. Only speaking blessings. Oh, for the rest of the year. For the rest of the year. Come on, let's declare it together. Say blessings, 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 blessings. For the rest of the year. Say blessings, blessings. Over my life, yeah. Blessings. Over my family. Blessings. For the rest of the wholeness. I'm whole and complete. Wholeness. Oh, wholeness. Wholeness. For the rest of the year. Wholeness. Over my body. Wholeness. And my finances. For the rest of the year. Say love, love, love. All I am is love. All I have is love. Say love, love. Everybody say love, love. Oh, love. Say power, power. Ooh, power. I've got power, power. To proceed and change. To shift energy, to create and believe. I've got power, yeah. Oh, say, oh, every time I turn around, blessing, 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 blessing. Every time I turn around, blessings on blessings.
Blessings on blessings.
Every time I turn around, say blessings,
Blessings.
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 Every time I turn around, blessings on blessings.
Blessings on blessings.
Every time I turn around, say
Blessings.
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 Every time I turn around, it's gonna be blessings on blessings.
Blessings on blessings.
Every time I turn it around, say blessings,
Blessings.
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 Every time I turn around, say blessings on
Blessings on
blessings.
blessings.
Oh,
Yes, 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 yes. Let's give him some love. Let's give him some love. I happen to just love and adore that song. Blessings on blessings for the rest of the year. So we're going to focus tonight a little bit, all right? So our talk tonight is called Manifesting Blessings for the rest of the year. Not just right now, not just tomorrow, for the rest of the year. And so some of you say, but what if for the rest of the life? Okay, I agree with you. Can we simply focus just for this year? Let's get clear, and you'll understand what as we go along here. So Happy New Year, everybody. It really is a brand new year. Now, some of you in the beginning of January, maybe you set your intentions. Maybe you did the whole resolution thing. In Centers for Spiritual Living, Southern Nevada, we believe in intentions. And that's good. We want to absolutely do that. And we set, some people set goals. That's wonderful. That's all good stuff. So what we know, though, and what we're clear about, is there is no God in the sky who's up there, the man with the beard and all of that, looking down on us, pouring out blessings on some and not blessings on others. Nope. And there's no God that is made in man's image. If you check out where we've been in our history, we have a tendency to make God like us. The man in the sky, who's sometimes nice and sometimes not, sometimes vengeful and sometimes not. You say, God's not vengeful. Well, I don't know. It depends on what books you're looking at and what you believe in. But here at Centers for Spiritual Living Southern Nevada and in Centers for Spiritual Living in New Thought, we're very clear that God is so much more than any man in the sky. All right? So we're going to let go of the anthropomorphic idea of what God is, and we're going to embrace that there is a power and a presence that is absolutely everywhere and that we're in it. We're not separate from it. No, we're in it. Now, some people like to say, I'm one with God. Nothing wrong with that. For me, it still brings up a little duality, so I like to say I'm in. I'm in God. God is the totality, and I'm right there in the middle, all right? So are you. So let's talk about this for a second. We recognize that there are blessings, but sometimes, we set these intentions, we set these goals, and those so-called blessings that we want out of that don't necessarily come. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But I have a question before we really get started. And we're going to take about 10 seconds of silence because I really want you to think through this. All right? I have a question. My question for you is, where was your focus in 2021? Where was your focus? Take a moment to reflect. Now, what did you actually focus on last year? What did you put your attention on? Take a breath, close your eyes, and let's get honest about what we were really focused on last year. If we look deeply enough and not really try to fool ourselves, we'll see that so many times, maybe especially last year, many of us were focused on COVID. Let's just get real about it. We may have had intentions, but a lot of our attention was spent on COVID. And I'm not here to blame anybody or say that that's even wrong. I just want us to notice, where is our attention in 2021? Why am I going backwards? Because we're going to do something different tonight so you can shift your focus for 2022. Now, some of you say, no, Rev. Marquita, yeah, I know about the COVID thing, but I was focused on, I'm going to have prosperity in 2021. But Rev. Marquita, it didn't come through. I am willing to bet money tonight. Bet money that you thought your focus was on prosperity, but what your focus was actually on was the lack of prosperity in your life. And some of you say, no, I was focused on relationships. I have a relationship and I wanted it to be better, so I was focused there. And I'm still willing to put some money down on the fact that You focused more on what you wanted to be happening that was not happening, and that it was not happening. So maybe you struggled, but you kept your attention, your energetic body field was in what was not happening. Okay? So I'm asking you this evening and tonight, tomorrow, whenever you decide to do this work, to really check out where your focus actually is, and let's shift. Because if we want blessings upon blessings upon blessings, our focus has to be there. Now, there are some ways to do that, and we're going to talk about that tonight. There are 3 elements that we need to look at this evening. They are clarity, focus, and practice. Clarity, focus, and practice. Let's start looking at manifesting our blessings this evening. Let's deal with number 1, clarity. Now, a few days ago, the beloved Thich Nhat Hanh passed over, made his transition, but he left with us many, many important messages. Tonight, we're going to look at one of them, and it says, once you can communicate with yourself, you'll be able to communicate outwardly with more clarity. The way in is the way out. You see, we're so used to communicating out here to other people so that we can so-called get what we want, but we don't take enough time to communicate within so we can get clear about what we want. So we know that the universe always, always, always responds to what we're actually holding inside of us, not necessarily what comes out of our mouth. Okay? What comes out of our mouth can be a clue, but God knows you, Spirit knows you inside and out. So what you actually are is what the universe, Spirit, God, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever name you have for the Creator is actually responding to. All right? There's never any withhold. Spirit never withholds anything from you. It's about us opening up and getting in tune with the flow of what is already here, which is all good. But the choice is ours. So it really starts with your spiritual practices. If you're a spiritual being, and if you're watching this, I would assume then that, of course, you are, and you're conscious of that. So it starts with your spiritual practices, especially meditation. Now, why especially meditation? Because in the meditation, you're not trying to fix something. You're listening. You're listening. And what you'll find is things start to flow up so that you can become conscious and aware of what's actually activating in your being. Once you're conscious, then you can shift and change. You know, when I talk about clarity, a lot of times I'll ask people, okay, so you want to manifest more good in your life. You want more blessings in your life? Tell me, what is it you want? And more often than not, what I get straight out of their mouth is what they don't want. Well, so you're here and you want a better relationship. So tell me, what does that look like? And they'll say, well, I don't want to be arguing all the time. What comes out of the mouth first is actually what's motivating you to want something better. But what they're actually telling me is what I'm holding inside, Reverend Marquita, is what I don't want. So we want to be conscious of what we're saying and what's coming out, because then we can get clear about what's really going on. So number 1, you get to get clear about what you want. Get honest in your communication with what's within you, about yourself, and listen to how you talk about so-called the things that you say that you want. See if you're actually regurgitating what you don't want before you get to what you want. And once you're conscious, let go of that, right? Release and let go. Let go of the things that you don't want, and you're going to do the next step. But before we get there, I want you to say with me, all right, because I want you to participate. I know you might be in a room, I don't know where you are, right? Wherever you are in your house or wherever you are, but say out loud. And everybody in the room, say out loud, I choose to get clear about my life. I choose to get clear about you must get clear about what you want your life to look like in 2022. And then the second thing that we must do, the second part of receiving blessings on blessings, is you get to focus. You get to focus without focusing on the thing that you say that you want, not what you don't want. Not what's going to get relieved if you start getting the thing you want. Not what's going to happen if you start getting. focus on what you actually want. Once you're clear, then you start to, something totally different starts to show up. So let me say this about this. In our world today, we are celebrated. We are given the attaboys and the attagirls for being multitaskers. That is our world today. Oh man, we multitask. We go as fast as we can. We are killing it. And yet we wonder why we're not manifesting the things that we say that we want. Remember, the universe only responds to what you're holding. So if you are scattered, if you're multitasking all the time, your mind isn't moving all the time on so many different things, and you are not focused and clear about what you want, and you stay there. So if you're focused here for 2 minutes, and then you're scattered over here, and you go over here for another 5 minutes, and then you go over here for... Please tell me how the universe is just going to be following you here and there and everywhere. Take, for instance, your sports players. They spend hours practicing and focused on what they want. Anybody who has accomplished anything, especially large things, is because they have a tendency to be single-minded. All right? We get to focus. So I want to tell you a story. True story. I have permission to tell this story. So I have my youngest daughter lives in Alaska. And last year was quite the year. Last year she became very, very ill. And they ended up calling the ambulance and taking her to the hospital because she couldn't breathe. She couldn't breathe. So I'm going to do my very best. But what I'd like for you to do is pretend that you're my daughter right now. And here's how this scenario goes. My daughter has a medical background. So when she gets to the hospital, she understands everything that's going on. She understands exactly what they're telling her. Pretend you are her. There are signs of pneumonia. That was one of the first things they told her. You have pneumonia. She realizes all of a sudden she is in the COVID unit. Everybody around her has COVID. She has pneumonia. She can't breathe. She can hear the man next door. He is coughing and coughing. Clearly there's a problem. The next thing she hears, he's flatlining, and the people rush to his room. They come now to her and they say to her, well, not only do you have pneumonia, but you now have a total of 10 clots in your lungs. This is not looking good. She's hearing, and remember, last year no one could get to her. Your family can't be in the room with you. She is alone. All right? She's alone. The next thing she hears is, your liver is failing. In between all of that, somewhere in there, the man flatlines again. Through the night, the man flatlines a couple more times. And he was on a ventilator because she heard the ventilator when she got there. So she knew what was going on with him. But now he's flatlining again and again. She's alone. And they're telling her now, and they're poking, you know how they do. They poke and prod you every couple hours. But every time they come to her, they're not giving her any good news. Her mind goes where? Because she hears them flatline again. Her mind goes to, I don't want to die. And I don't want to die in this place alone. So the next day she comes up with, I'm calling my girls. She has 2 daughters. She calls her daughters. Why? Because she knew where the brain went, where the mind was, and where she was focused. There's death all around her. Her mind and focus is on death. She calls her girls. Her girls don't know anything other than mommy's at the hospital. So, of course, what are they telling her? What happened today? And they're happy and joyous. And, Mommy, when are you coming home? And we can't wait to see you. And this is what happened today. Blah, blah, blah. And she delves into their lives. She gets off the phone. She's alone again. She goes through that. The next day she calls her girls. She got very clear, I can't be here. I'm supposed to be with them. I'm living for them. That is what I'm doing. So her focus goes there. In 5 days, she's out of the hospital. However, it continues. You see, she gets home, but then what happens is the doctors and the nurses are calling her all through the day. And their information is, Your liver is still failing. We're running more tests. Now your kidneys are failing. And on it goes. She goes to her boyfriend. She starts crying. I can't do this. I can't take this anymore. This is driving me crazy. I'm getting depressed. And so they come up with a plan. She stops answering the phone because she figures whatever it is, she can hear it all at one time. She doesn't need to hear it dribble by dribble to totally take her mind in the places she doesn't want to be. She needs to focus on being whole and complete. So they come up with a plan. She answers the phone. She listens to the messages at 5 o'clock as soon as he gets there. They listen to it together, and then they come up with a plan for the next day. And she refuses to answer the phone unless it's someone who's going to be positive. They are very clear. She had to stay positive. She had to focus on living, not dying. Why do I tell that story? Because I want us to get clear. Your focus, your intention and total focus on what you really want and not allowing the outside world to come in and shift your focus keeps you whole, healthy, happy, peaceful, and all the other verities of the divine. But you must focus. Yeah? There is a third element I want to bring to your attention this evening. And that is, I love this one, practice. Practice. We talked about the sports players earlier, right? What are they doing for hours? Right? They're practicing. But here's what's interesting. Valerie Kaur, she says, we become what we practice. Now we know that. Interesting. Why is it we don't do it as much? What's that about? People tend to confuse study with practice. They are not the same. They are not the same. Let me just say this very quickly. Ernest Holmes, he says this, so we can get a clue about this. He says, one of the greatest difficulties in the new order of thought is that we are likely to indulge in too much theory and too little practice. Too little practice. So I'm driving with my oldest son. Some of you know him, my son by birth, oldest son. His name is Trey. A lot of our community, you know him. We are driving to Henderson one morning, and we get into these discussions. And one of the things he said he heard was that our culture in the country of the United States, at least, and lots of other cultures, I'm sure, that we are a culture of study. We study. Some of us go to school for years to study. We go to churches, synagogues, we take classes, and we study. That's so good. But we're not a culture of practice. We're not a culture of practice. And I'm asking you this evening, it's time to shift. Some of us have lots of Ernest Holmes books. We have lots of spiritual books. We got a library of books. I'm one of them. I got lots of spiritual books. But one of the things I got real clear about is you can talk about and you can study meditation all you want. But until you are practicing daily, constantly, you will not know the heights to which your spiritual being can rise to. Until you're actually praying, not once a day, but a lot during the day, and praying out loud, just pray, you will not know the heights to which you can reach through prayer. All right? So I want us to recognize it is not about you getting more knowledge. Knowledge is good, but it's much better to get more practice in. Practice being the spiritual being that you are. And when it comes to your intention and your goals, practice being in the space of what that feels like, what it looks like. Right now in Power Hour, we are doing this work. And we're doing what does it feel like, look like, smell like, taste like, sound like, to be in the space and doing the thing that we say that where our intention is. And we're not studying the ins and the outs and the hows and the... No, we're not doing that. We're taking the time to practice being in feeling nature of what it feels like to already have that goal. I share that with you because it works. Yeah? Very, very important. The more you practice, the less you need to talk about it. When you know those people, I would say a particular subject, but I won't. But you know those people who talk about it, and they say, if you talk about it, you probably ain't doing it. Right? But the people who are doing it, they don't need to talk about it much. They have very few words, many times. If you look at some of our leaders, they are just that. As a matter of fact, I want to point out one of them to you. So the other person who transitioned here before the last time we met, he's transitioned on the day after Christmas, and that is our beloved Desmond Tutu. And Desmond Tutu says this. He says, "Do your little bit of good where you are. It's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. You're choosing to practice being in that space bit by bit by bit by bit by bit by bit speaks volumes to the universe. This is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am, this and this and this and this." And then the next thing you know, you are that. It doesn't only overwhelm the world, it overwhelms your consciousness so that you become that which you are practicing constantly. Yeah? Let us stop talking so much. I know I'm talking tonight. I get that. Because that's my job tonight. But it's much more important for us to not only hear what is being said here, but to practice what is being said. So with that, I simply want to put it all together. First element, clarity, plus second element, focus, plus third element, practice. Now equals blessings on blessings for the rest of the year. Let's practice manifesting our blessings. When we put it together consistently, it has to unfold. With this, let's go into prayer. So in this very moment, we simply allow ourselves to just engage in this thing that is always present, the infinite intelligence and wisdom, the infinite unconditional love and beauty, harmony, peace. For that is all that is already here. It is Spirit, God, Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever name we have for the Creator, it already is, and it's here now. We simply take a moment to feel and sense that we are in the midst of. We truly are a center in the infinite. We are the beloveds themselves, ourselves, to the infinite Creator, willing and always ready to manifest through us. So we simply give thanks. So we give thanks for waking up this morning. We give thanks for all the technology that we got to play with today, and now we get to hear from because of technology this evening. We are so blessed to be in a spiritual community that recognizes truth, that we can be taught, spoken to, so that we tap into that inner peace that already knows that which is being spoken of. We simply resonate with it. We're reminded about it. We are grateful to remember. So we bless. We bless ourselves. We bless each and every person we hold in prayer, not seeing them in the so-called space of lack or doubt or fear, not seeing them in the space of worry, the space of illness, a space of aloneness. No. Our prayer, we see them as whole and complete. We see them prosperous. We see them healthy. We see them in loving relationships surrounding them all over. And as we see it for them, we see it for ourselves. We ground ourselves in this truth. We come back to it again and again and again and again, over and over. And we allow ourselves to open up and engage in allowing the wholeness of God, the power and the presence of God to move through us in such a mighty way. We know, feel, and sense, we are blessed upon blessed upon blessed upon blessed. And therefore we come from that space being a blessing to others. How beautiful, how wonderful it is. And so we simply release this prayer, this intention, into the divine law that knows no other choice but to reflect back to us that which we are holding, that which is in this prayer. All praises, glory, and honor
be unto the divine source itself. And for this, we say thank you, affirming it and sealing it by saying, and so it is. Amen, Amen, Ashe, Aho. Please join me now as we move into meditation and affirmation with Reverend Benicia.
I invite you to join me in our spiritual practice of meditation. Please close your eyes and let us begin with mindful breathing. You'll simply take deep inhalations and long exhalations so that you are cleansing yourself. So let us begin. Take one deep inhalation and release with a long exhalation. And now we're going to move into some more deeper breathing. Let us inhale to a count of 4, and then we will exhale to a count of 4. Let us begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale again, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. And for our final time, inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. We will begin with a short guided meditation. This will be followed by music and then some moments of silence. And when it is time, you will hear my voice bringing you back into this present moment and back into your body. And so let us begin with the guided meditation. Take a deep breath and just simply be present. And use that wonderful imagination of yours. And imagine a large bubble in front of you. And it's glowing with energy. If you are willing, this is the opportunity to release. Perhaps it might be a person or a situation. It might be a group of people. Or it might be things. Let's find out. Look closely into the bubble to see what you are willing to release. Are you surprised? Or is it something you're already aware of? Now, before you do any releasing, think of a greater possibility to replace it with. Just allow your intuition to bring forward a greater possibility to replace this releasing with. When you have a replacement, pop the bubble. You are now released from that energy. See yourself engaged in a step towards your greater possibility. See yourself living successfully, engaged in your greater possibility. What emotion do you feel? What thoughts are you thinking? Now hold on to that feeling and embrace the positive thoughts or replace any negative thoughts with affirming ones about your greater possibility. Release the image and focus on your breathing and the feeling of this greater possibility while listening to the music that will be followed by silence. And now for our musical interlude. to engulf you and soothe you. And now become aware of your body. The chair that you're sitting in. Slowly move your body. Wiggle your toes and fingers. And gently stretch your arms up. And now wrap your arms around yourself with a wonderful Happy New Year hug. And continue hugging yourself with your eyes closed as I share our affirmations. When I'm finished, I will invite you to open your eyes and state our affirmations together. So allow these affirmations to enter into your heart. I am releasing what no longer serves me right now. I am freely releasing, knowing Spirit sources me with more. I am open to receiving more and even more. Now I invite you to open your eyes and repeat after me. I am releasing what no longer serves me right now. I am freely releasing, knowing Spirit sources me with more. I am open to receiving more and even more. Thank you. And now for Rachel.
Everybody. Good evening, everybody. I'm Rachel Dilling. I'm a spiritual practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living of Southern Nevada. And today we're going to talk about the power of giving and how we can give from our treasures as well as our talents. But right now we're going to focus on the treasures. So I invite you to give your sacred giving. We have several ways to do this. We have our website, www.CSLSN.org. We've got text tithing, 702-666-0542. Or you can use one of two apps. We have a Cash App as well as Zelle at info@cslsn.org. Or you can just mail us a check. That works too. So while you're preparing your sacred gift, we are going to listen to some beautiful music from Donnie. So I just used the Cash App. Got that handled. So now I want to say thank you for all of your sacred gifts and your sacred offering. And let's bless that. Knowing that God is all there is, all knowing, all powerful, all present, knowing that God is the energy that flows in and of and through everything, that God is the flow of money, the flow of love, the flow of life. And in this flow, we know that as this money has been given and donated and tithed and offered to the Center for Spiritual Living of Southern Nevada, that it is blessed, that it is growing, that it is being given and received, and it is reciprocal. As we know that we give, we receive, and that is the way life works, and that is the way God is. So in this giving, we say thank you, and release this word into law, knowing it is done, 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 done. And so it is. So it is. So thank you for giving and expressing your loves through this sacred time. Now, it is time for us to, you probably saw it in the e-blast, that we've got this special blessing on blessing bounce. So, get on your feet. Get ready to bounce into motion. We invite you to stand up and join our dancers in our blessing on blessing bounce, also known as the B.O.B. bounce. Okay, Donnie.
Report to the dance floor. Report to the dance floor. Report to the dance floor.
I know it when you about to learn.
Report to the dance floor. Report to the dance floor. Report to the dance floor. Step, 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 step up. Back stand still, matter of fact, shout. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Step up. Back stand still, matter of fact, shout. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Turn it out to the right, clap, clap, step up and watch God. Step back and watch God. Turn it out to the left, clap, clap. Different direction with a brand new blessing. Step up. Back stand still, matter of fact, shout. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Step up. Stand still, matter of fact, shout. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Turn it out to the right, clap, clap, step up and watch God. Step back and watch God. Turn it out to the left, clap, clap. Different direction with a brand new blessing. Step up, back, stand still, matter of fact, shout. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Step up, back, stand still, matter of fact, shout. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Turn it out to the right, clap, clap, step up and watch God. Step back and watch God. Turn it out to the left, clap, clap, different direction with a brand new blessing. Just look at me. Just look at me. Just look at me. Don't hate, take it up because he did it. Just look at me. Just look at me. Just look at me. Don't hate, take it up because he did it. Just look at me. Just look at me. Just look at me. Don't hate, take it up with God. He did it. Just look at me. Just look at me. Just look at me. Don't hate, take it up with God. He did it.
I hope you join us in dancing, and if not, it's okay. Make me a little, feel a little shy, all that. So review the videos that we sent out early so you can get that dance now. I'm going to do this in a few more months. So real quick, I do want to acknowledge everyone who put this together. Let's first start with our music director, Johnny Lee. Let's give him some love. I also want to acknowledge our volunteers. We have volunteers here in the room, but we have so many volunteers who are behind the scenes, always ready to serve, willing to give, and allow CSL Southern Nevada to serve us tonight and in so many other opportunities that we have for you in offerings. Make sure you visit the website on that. Also, we want to give acknowledgement and love to our spiritual leadership. They're always in prayer, always holding us in prayer, holding us in that space of awakening. Yes? So let's give them some love too. And give our volunteers some love. Woohoo! Last but never least is our Las Vegas Center for Spiritual Living for allowing us to come and be in their sacred space to do this mighty, mighty work. Let's give them some love too. With that, we're getting ready to close with our licensed practitioner, Juan McAllister.
And in this moment, we just recognize that one power and one presence that makes everything possible, that brings our fondest desires into reality. And we recognize that right here and right now, that power and that presence is moving in and through our lives. And for this, we're truly grateful. And as this year gets underway, we just bless everything that's occurring, recognizing it's God in action, it's Spirit in action. And for this, we're truly grateful. And together we say, and so it is.
Hey, hey, hey.
Just look at me. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. Don't hate, take it up with God. He did it. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. Don't hate, take it up with God. He did it. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. Don't hate, take it up with God. He did it. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. You wanna see a blessing? Just look at me. Now stop. Humble is the way. Stay low. The lower you get, the more God's gonna bless you. The lower you get, the more God's gonna bless you. The lower you get, the more God's gonna bless you. Praises go up, the blessings come back down. The lower you get, the more God's gonna bless you. The lower you get, the more God's gonna bless you. The lower you get, the more God's gonna bless you. Step, 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 step up. Back, stand still, matter of fact. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Step up, back, stand still, matter of fact. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Turn it out to the right, clap, clap, step up and watch God. Step back and watch God. Turn it out to the left, clap, clap. It's a new direction with a brand new blessing. Up, back, stand still, matter of fact. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Up, back, stand still, matter of fact. Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Turn it down to the right, clap, clap, step up and watch God. Step back and watch God. Turn it out to the left, clap, clap. It's a new direction with a brand new blessing. Up, back.
Blessings on blessings on.
Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way. Up, back.
Blessings on blessings on.
Everywhere you look, you got a blessing on the way.